Well, shalom, shalom. I'm Barbara, and I'm always short and sweet. So when to keep the Passover? We just did the why to keep the Passover, and I'll leave that link below. So when? Leviticus 23 talks about the feast. These are Jehovah's appointed festivals, the sacred assemblies you are to proclaim at their appointed times. Jehovah's Passover begins at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. And then on the 15th day begins the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So Passover is a memorial and it's an annual event, and we talked about that in the last YouTube. So today it's about Passover and when is it? Deuteronomy 16:1, observe the month of Abib or Aviv and celebrate the Passover to Jehovah your Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh your Elohim brought you out of Egypt by night. So two signs to know when the month of Passover is that you can find by yourself if you're new to keeping the feast. One is by the ripe barley, Aviv. The barley has to be Aviv, or by the shape of the crescent moon. So the true new year was given in Exodus 12, verse 2. Jehovah had said, this month is to be for you the first month of your year. So the question, okay, what is the first month? It's Abib or Aviv. The next question, well, when is the first month? And the answer is it's in the spring. Also, Exodus 13:1 says, this day came you out in the month of Aviv. So we know Passover is in the spring, and that's when we are to be keeping it. Also, Exodus 23:15 says, celebrate the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days. And then do this at the appointed time in the month of Aviv. And we know Passover is the day before unleavened bread starts. So Aviv, what does that mean? And when is that month in the Bible? This is from the Wikipedia. Aviv, the month in the Hebrew calendar when the barley has reached or passed this stage, and that is the stage of the growth of the grain when the seeds have reached full size. And that month is called Aviv, and it's the first biblical month of the year. So when is the barley Aviv? And okay, here's more of the definition. The basic meaning of the word Aviv is the stage in the growth of grain when the seeds have reached full size and are filled with starch but have not dried yet. Because we know during the plague of hail, the barley was said to be in the Aviv stage, and the flax also. So this resulted in the destruction of the barley. So we know Aviv means when the barley is ripe, and it's in the spring, and that's the month when Passover starts. And you can check on the internet. There's always a lot of sites out there saying when the barley is ripe in Israel. So the two signs for the month of Passover, one's to know when the barley is ripe, Aviv, and the other one you can tell by the shape of the crescent moon. So in the spring, the first month of the year shows a crescent bowl-shaped moon to announce the spring feast. And that's because the earth is tilted a little, the angle of the crescent moon changes, and sometimes the 2 points are up like that, so it looks like horns or it looks like a little bowl or a smile. And that will show you that this is the beginning of the Passover month. So you have two signs. You have the barley to be ripe and the crescent moon to look like that. And people may see new moon as a dawn after conjunction. Others see it with the crescent, but you can study that out for yourself. But when you see this crescent, know that that means it's the time of Passover when it's that little half circle. So these are the spring feasts. Passover is AVIV 14, and you would count day 1 as New Moon Day. Unleavened bread is AVIV 15, and wave sheaf is 16. So, okay, the ripe barley should be found in Israel in February or March, and it ripens for the first month in the Hebrew month of AVIV. And the Bible says it has to be ripe because it has to be ripe for the wave sheaf, which is the day after the first day of unleavened bread. So just to remind you, Passover was the 14th, and you know Yeshua was crucified, and then he rested in the grave on the Sabbath and was raised on the 16th, which is wave sheaf. So that kind of gives you the 3 days there. So what time are we to keep the Passover? Jehovah's Passover begins at twilight on the 14th day of the first month, Leviticus 23:5. So what is twilight? Well, twilight is at sunset, and the dictionary says the twilight is the soft, glowing light from the sky when the sun is below the horizon, caused by the refraction and scattering of the sun's rays from the atmosphere. So the Passover, we would have our Passover Seder at twilight. So when do you keep it? You keep it on the 14th day of the first month, and you keep it at twilight in the evening. So this video is about when to keep the Passover. The last one was why. I'll leave the link below. And then the next videos will be how to keep the Passover. And I'll talk about the Passover Seder there and how that we do it or how that I do it. And then the other two springs that will follow that is unleavened bread and wave sheaf. And they're all 3 days apart. One's the 14th, one's the 15th, one's the 16th. So they start right there together. And remember, Jehovah said, these are my feasts, and they are for all generations. They were not done away with. And we talked about that the last one, too. You'll see a lot of documentation and Bible scriptures there. So if this was a blessing to you, and please share it with your friends. I hope it was a blessing, and I hope you remember the Passover this spring. So remember, I'm always short and sweet, and I'll be back next time, I hope real soon. So thank you for being here, and please subscribe and hit the little bell. That would be great if you don't miss anything. And I want to get that other Passover video out right away. So thank you.